Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. Mozambique is a shit show. I'm not able to leave until tomorrow morning. I don't know if you've been able to follow along on social media what's going on with me. And I don't really want to talk about it. And I don't really want to be recording this podcast. The only reason I am is because I've deactivated all my social media right now. And I think if I skipped an episode of the podcast, it would freak people the fuck out. I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but I feel forced to under the circumstance to explain like what's happening. I met a guy at the hotel pool on Saturday around like 12:30. We hung out for a couple hours. We had good conversation. We took a walk on the beach, maybe 15, 20 minutes. We came back to the hotel. We continued poolside, full view of everyone, continued conversation. Perhaps I flirted with this man. Sure, he was attractive, great body. I don't want to be like one of them dudes who think you're hot until you reject them. And then, they're like, fuck you, bitch. It's not that. He's a good looking guy. We had a good time, I thought. Like, we had great conversation around 4:00. I'd been by the pool long enough. Like, we've been drinking. I think I had 3 drinks. One of them I didn't finish. If you know me, like, I can drink. I didn't drink because I was drinking with a dude and I didn't want to get fucked up. I didn't want to be sloppy. I'm on vacation, but I'm mindful of being able to keep my wits about me. But around 4:00, like, I called it a day and I said it was great to meet you. I'd had a couple drinks. I had lunch. I asked him if he was hungry. He wasn't, so he didn't eat with me. But I ate, finished my drink, and then said, like, it was great meeting you. We exchanged numbers. I didn't mind staying in contact with him, but I didn't have interest in taking the evening forward. Again, we've been chilling by the pool all day and we've been drinking. Sunset here is around like 5:15, 5:30. He'd become a little touchy-feely with me and I didn't want to take things further. Like, I wasn't down to fuck. 1, I wasn't interested. 2, I have to have an emotional attachment to have sex with somebody. It's just one of my things. I can't just activate. Like, I can't. I wish I could sometimes. I can't. I'm also like on my cycle. So in the 4th day of it at that, like, it would have looked like a fucking massacre if I was to have sex with somebody. So I bid him adieu. And he was like, oh, I could walk you to your room. Like, he picked up my stuff. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he was like, I insist. And I was like, and I insist that I go alone. And so he was like, okay, cool. I hugged him goodbye. We're in full view of like all the same people. It's a very boutique hotel. I think it has like 7 bungalows, 10 bungalows, something like that. In full view of everyone, including the people that work there. Like, I was like, good day. Great meeting you. Like, hit me up. Maybe we could go out tonight, but I might have a thing with a friend, like very non-committal. And, we parted ways. Went back to my bungalow on the ocean, on a cliff by the ocean. It's a bungalow. So it's one room. One wall of it is sliding glass doors. I had the doors parted maybe like a foot or so I could feel like the ocean breeze and such coming in. It was not yet sunset when I went to my room and I was on my phone. I laid down for a little bit. I was like texting and then I took a nap. I fell asleep with like my door cracked. I woke up maybe like an hour and a half later. It was dark outside. I didn't want to turn the light on because the mosquitoes would fly into the room. Mozambique is a high malaria zone. I ain't trying to get malaria for obvious reasons. So I was in the dark. I was on my bed. I had the mosquito net down. I'm 6 hours ahead of the East Coast. It was probably like, actually, I can tell you what time it was. It was like 8:00. I was on my phone. I was texting my friends in East America who were awake. I was on social media. I was scrolling. I was on my back. So, I'm concentrating because I don't want the phone to fall on my face, but I'm awake. I'm alert. And I hear a noise outside my bungalow. And I called out. I was like, hello? I know where I am. It could be an animal. Not like a lion, a tiger, a bear, but like something. But I called out hello to startle whatever it was, or if it was a person, to call hello so they would respond so I would know who was there. No one answered. And I called out again because I heard the noise. Like, I know somebody's there. I know something's out there. I called out again and no one answered. And I was like, who's there? I can hear the footsteps and no one answered. I rushed off my bed. I'm in a 1-room bungalow. If someone gets inside, I don't have a way to escape. I didn't know if I was trying to close the door. I don't know if I was trying to get out. Just instinctually, I got up. I ran across the room. When I got to the door, there's a figure there. There's a guy. It was the guy from the pool from earlier. Again, I didn't invite him to my space. I didn't tell him where I was staying. He knew I was staying at the hotel. I don't know how he knew which bungalow I was in. That's still a great mystery. But he was there and he scared the shit out of me. And I didn't know if he was there to rape me or beat me or murder me or whatever. I was scared as shit. So I see him and he called me. He had like a little nickname for me. He called me General Demi. He said my name reminded him of like a Russian general, Demetria. He's like, oh, Demetri. He was like, oh, you like vodka? And I was like, I prefer tequila. He was like, I'm going to call you General Demi. So that was his nickname for me for the day. I get to the door. I just see a figure. I don't know who the fuck is there. I just know somebody's there. And he was like, General Demi. He's like, I've been looking for you. Nigga, what? He called me a couple times and he texted me a couple times. I didn't respond. I saw him come through because I was on my phone. I was texting with my friends or whatever. I didn't respond. His version of events, which he tells me after this, is that he thought I was asleep. And so he came to my bungalow. I didn't tell him where I was staying and I didn't invite him to, but he found out where I was and he popped up. And his version, this is what he texted to me, was I thought you were asleep and I wanted to wake you up. Nigga, what? He's standing there in front of me. Initially, I was like, hello, who's there? It's real frantic. I saw it was him. He says, General Demi. I realized who it was. I took the bass out my voice and I was like, hey, you. He said something. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember all the details. I'm in fight or flight. He might have said I was messaging you. I was calling you. You didn't respond. Something of that nature. I might have said I was on the phone with my mom. I was willing to say or do anything not to be raped and not to be murdered. I told him my cycle just started. I didn't feel well. I wasn't going to hang out with them that night. I just wanted to lay down and rest. I told him I would call him in the morning because I wanted to see him again. I just ain't want the nigga to rape me. He said, cool. He went away. I locked the doors. I closed the curtains. I don't know what I did like after that. Like there's a gap in time that I don't remember. He texted me apologizing because he didn't mean to scare me. And I think the text coming through is what kicked me back to reality. I had been emailing with the owner of the hotel before I arrived because I had to be in the writer's room last minute. And the hotel only had Wi-Fi in the restaurant and not in the rooms. And so the owner had told me, like, you got to get a SIM card, which is why nobody can call me direct right now, which is really inconvenient under the circumstances. He told me to get a local SIM card so I could run Wi-Fi in my room because they would have the music on in the restaurant. But if I needed to work on Friday night, then that's like the best way to be online. So I did that. I texted the owner and was like, this guy just showed up at my room uninvited. I didn't tell him where I was. The owner was like, wait, what? Let me investigate. And I was like, nah. I screenshotted what the guy sent me. The text that kept coming through. He apologized for scaring me. He said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He said it a bunch of times. I screenshotted that and sent it to the owner. The owner was immediately like, what the fuck? Stay in your room. I'm calling the reception. We have a night guard. We'll put somebody outside your room. I'm calling the property manager. Stay put. Text my bestie, best friend since I was 12. I told her what happened. She's basically like, nigga, what? It's the logical response. She calls me. I'm on the phone with her. Maybe 15 minutes passes. I hear voices outside my door. There's a bang on the glass. There's a guy calling my name. He speaks English. I still don't know where this man is from. He's talking to somebody else. I heard my last name. I think he said he was a manager from the hotel. That's why I opened the curtains. I see this white guy standing outside on my patio. and I opened the door. My hands were shaking. I was fumbling with the door for like a good 30 seconds trying to get the latch up. Fired up white dude, big Bourdain energy. He was like, what's going on? He didn't say the fuck, but it was the fuck energy. He's like, I just got a call from the owner who's not even in the country. He's abroad right now, telling me that somebody tried to break into your room and the police are on the way. I'm like, the fuck, the police? I didn't call the police. I didn't tell him to call the police. Like, what? And he was like, you just told the owner that somebody popped up at your room uninvited and tried to come inside. True. And he was like, yeah, that's a police situation. He has me walk him through what happened step by step. I've got timestamps for all this stuff because like I'm WhatsApping everybody. I guess dude showed up probably like 8:08. He apologizes at 8:14. I've got a timestamp where I reached the manager at like 8:21, 8:23, something like that. Back up. I don't remember being stuck. I remember coming out of being stuck and being frantic about what to do because I knew time was of the essence. And I was thinking about, one, the guy coming back, because like the type of dude that just shows up at your door and is like, hey, I wasn't invited. You didn't tell me where you were staying, but I just popped up on your ass, has no boundaries and is unhinged. And I don't know what you're capable of. Could you come back? Sure. I also know I've had a straight up assault happen to me before, but also because I sit online every day and I read about women being assaulted and I watch people respond. The longer I wait to speak up and say something, the less credible I become. I don't have an hour. I don't have the morning. I don't have time to pull myself together. I don't have time to freak out and curl into a ball and process what happened. If I don't say anything immediately, then people won't believe me. Literally, my hands are shaking as I'm texting the owner to say, like, this is what happened to me. This guy showed up, and I'm conscious even as I'm texting. I'm fucking up as I'm typing, and I don't know if he speaks English or not. Like, I can't afford fucking typos right now. And I realized that, like, if I don't say this the right way, the coherent way, and I don't get it out, like, immediately, people aren't going to believe what just happened to me. That this nigga just showed the fuck up. Here's the crazy fucking part, right? I tell the manager what happened. The manager's confused, right? I screenshot what the guy sent to me. He's apologizing. I respond to him and was like, don't come to my room. You weren't invited here. He responds, he keeps apologizing. I screenshot that and sent it to the manager. It escalates to like, what the fuck? He calls the police. He calls the property manager. This dude shows up 15 minutes later with an attendant from the front desk. The police are on their way. Dude is fired up. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Did he touch you? Basically, did he rape you? No, I'm okay. He just scared the shit out of me. Big fired up dude is like, okay, well, the police are on their way. Tell me step by step everything that happened. I'm on my phone. I'm telling him with like timestamps, like, this happened at XYZ time. The guy apologized. I screenshot it. I sent it to the manager. He contacted you. It's been all of 25 minutes that have passed. I'm within believability time. I don't speak a lick of Portuguese. He asked me everything that happened in detail so he could report it to the police. He asked for the guy's number so he could call him and basically curse him out. I don't speak Portuguese. My understanding of what Big Bourdain energy, the fired up white dude, said to the guy who showed up in my hotel was that he cursed him out. I found out earlier today, because this is a fucking saga, that that's not exactly what he said. I mean, he did curse him out. Like, basically, like, why the fuck would you show up to this lady room? But he also told him that he owed me an apology and that he owed the hotel an apology because what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, who does this crazy shit? And the dude took it literally. He gets off the phone with dude. He says he's going to talk to the police. He tells me to lock my door. He tells me they'll put a night guard outside of my bungalow. He was like, I told him that the police had been called, like, not to come near you, not to come to your bungalow. We've got the guard outside, like, you're safe. And then he tells me, and he was like, hey, like, I don't know where you're from. You're in a third world country. People don't see you the way you see yourself. Be mindful of that. There's many layers to that. I'm still unpacking it. He leaves. I get on the phone with my best friend. She stays on the phone with me for 2 hours. Then she has to go somewhere. And she was like, you good? I told her I was good. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to fall asleep. I tried anyway. I did some weird shit. Like I closed the doors. Obviously, I'm in a room with no AC. It's not exactly cool, despite it being, I don't know, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night at the time. It's hot as fuck in the room. I still bury myself under the covers because it felt safe. It took me forever to fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep until maybe 4 in the morning, 3:30. I woke up for sunrise. I go out on my patio and I record the sun. I feel perfectly fine somehow. It was like the night before it happened, but it didn't. I felt disconnected from it. But then the sun goes up and I'm finished recording and I just don't want to go back in that room. Like, I just don't. It's bright daylight. It's sunny as shit. I don't want to go back in the room. I go down to the beach and I'm walking along and I'm like, yo, last night was crazy, but like, I'm fine. And then I'm walking along. I just get this flash of like, the moment I got to the door, trying to get outside or close the door or whatever I was doing, I was operating on instinct. And then I realized like, there's really somebody standing outside my door and they're blocking the exit and I can't get outside and I'm fucked. You know, I like them brolic dudes. If this nigga wants to overpower me, there's nothing I could do. If this nigga wants to rape me, I can't fight him off. This nigga wants to beat me, I just get beat. This nigga wants to kill me, like he wants to choke me out or some shit, I'm dead. Get a head start on spring cleaning with Caraway. Their thoughtfully designed sets and complimentary storage makes getting and staying organized easier than ever. Caraway's high-quality ceramic-coated kitchenware is free of PTFE, such as Teflon, lead, cadmium, and other toxic materials. And ceramic's naturally slick surface means you can use minimal oil or butter for slide-off-the-pan eggs and for easy cleaning. I love that. Caraway kitchenware comes in a variety of chic shades, so you can do what I do, which is match your kitchenware to your kitchen. I love that. And all sets include complimentary easy access storage solutions. Right now, you can save 10% off the full suite of Caraway products, from their internet famous cookware to their newly launched food storage set. Over 40,000 people have raved about their Caraway kitchen, including me, and now it's time to try it for yourself. I love my Caraway cookware set. I love that I can match my decor to my cookware. Visit carawayhome.com/respectable to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/respectable or use code respectable at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. When someone is just exceptionally good at what they do, it could be a waiter, a chef, or a doctor, you know you're in good hands. It's like seeing a waiter balance 5 trays of sizzling fajitas on one arm, or to see a chef running a kitchen so well that Gordon Ramsay would be speechless. When you find the right doctor, you can feel it. You feel heard and at ease. On ZocDoc, finding the doctor that's right for you is seamless. The quality care you need is just a few taps away in the ZocDoc app. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. When you're not feeling your best and just trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all of your energy. That's where ZocDoc comes in. Using their free app that millions of users rely on, you can find the right doctor that meets your needs and fits your schedule. Book an appointment with a few taps in their app and start feeling better faster with ZocDoc. I love how easy ZocDoc makes it to find a good doctor you can trust. Go to ZocDoc.com/ratchet and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/ratchet. ZocDoc.com/ratchet. With Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn how to build and own your personal style with Carla Welch, or modeling fundamentals from Naomi Campbell. You can learn how to plan your dream wedding with Mindy Weiss. With over 180 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. I started taking master classes back in 2018. There were TV writing classes taught by Shonda Rhimes and Aaron Sorkin, and they were so good. I learned so much. With Masterclass, you can learn how to write anything from a book or screenplay to just a letter. Or you can learn how to communicate with your boss or your family, how to make a dinner worthy of a Michelin star, or just how to make really good scrambled eggs. With over 180 exclusive classes taught by the instructors you know and love, whatever you're interested in, there's a class for you. I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class. And as a Ratchet and Respectable listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/ratchet now. That's masterclass.com/ratchet for 15% off Masterclass. I'm better now than I was on Sunday, because that Sunday when I thought about that shit, I just burst into tears. I'm walking along the beach. It's not a lot of people outside, thank God, because I'm hysterical. Like I'm fine 1 minute and then I burst into tears, and then I see something dope and I pull out my phone and take a picture. I'm doing regular pictures, I'm doing panoramas, I'm doing videos. I'm walking along like nothing ever happened. I'm like kicking the water, like full on frolicking and shit. And then like I just think about some flash from the night before, or even sitting at the pool talking to dude, like, how did I fucking miss this nigga was fucking psycho? And then I just burst into fucking tears. A total emotional roller coaster. Like, I know I'm fucked up. It got so bad. Like, the only other time I've cried like this, I left my husband. It's gonna sound fucking crazy. It's life. I told him I was leaving him, and he knew he fucked up. I don't tell the details of exactly what happened, the exact reason I left. I've never shared that publicly. It doesn't need to be. But he knew he fucked up. And he said, is there anything I could do to make this easier for you? And I said, yeah, I don't want to do a 4-hour drive home by myself in a car. My dad had already warned me. He's like, that's going to be the longest ride of your life. It's going to fuck you up. I'm just telling you in advance so you're prepared for what happened. I was like, I don't want to drive home by myself and deal with it. And he said, do you want me to drive you? Yeah. I left my husband. We made a day of it. Like, we stopped in Delaware. We went on a mansion tour. We took pictures. We went to a restaurant. We did selfies and shit with like organic beer on the Delaware River. Baltimore has like this like fake beach, like sand lot. I think that's actually the name of it, sand lot. We like went there and then went and got ice cream. And then he drove me to New Carrollton Station so he could get on a train going back to New York. And I walked him to the platform. I waited for the train with him. And I said, I guess this is it. And he was like, yeah. And then he got on the train and he sat down in the seat by the window and he turned around and he waved goodbye to me. And I waved goodbye to him and I watched the train pull off. And I sat there until the train like was gone in the distance, headed toward Baltimore. I watched until the train lights were gone. And I cried like somebody beat me. You ever cry so hard, like you don't, like when you're walking, you don't even move your arms? All you're doing is crying. You ain't doing nothing else. Like you've dedicated your whole body to crying. That's what it felt like. That's what I did, right? And then I got in the car and like drove home and I went down into the basement and just started unpacking my shit to get the stuff that I would need to like live in the guest bedroom at my parents' house indefinitely. That cry is what I did on the fucking beach at 7:30 in the morning. Realized I was losing it. Called a friend who I ain't talked to in like, since I left LA, like 9 months ago. He was my emergency contact in LA. This man has made sure I get home safely for literally 20 years. If something were to happen to me when I was on the West Coast, like that's who my parents would call. I ain't talked to this man in 9 months, and he answered, was like, "What's up, D? How's Africa?" I'm a fucking mess. I'm sobbing in the man's ear. He talks me off a ledge. I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, I can't fucking think straight. He calms me down so I can like call another hotel and get the fuck out of where I was. Call a driver to come get me, to take me to some other destination than where the fuck I am. Booked the hotel and then called them because check-in is at 2. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning at this point. I was like, hey, I'm texting them. I'm like, hey, I know check-in is at 2. I need to come at like now. And I can see the person typing and untyping because it's WhatsApp. They tell me they have availability, but they still ain't tell me if I could come. And I was like, I apologize for the urgency, but I told them what happened. I was like, this guy showed up in my room last night. I'm scared. I don't feel safe. I have to leave here. Help me. And the person responds back, you are welcome. Come now. Burst into fucking tears. I go back to the hotel, stop by reception, tell the guy at the front desk, I was like, hey, can you send somebody to my room in 15 minutes because I'm checking out? He was like, is everything okay? He knew it wasn't. He told me later. He was like, yeah, they told me when I showed up at 6 a.m., like this shit happened at the hotel last night. Like, remember the girl and the guy and whatever. And like, he went to her room and she freaked out. We had to call the police and blah, blah, blah. This is when it really hit me how fucked up it was. I told dude, I said, could you come to my room in 15 minutes to get my stuff? Dude shows up 15 minutes later. I see him through a side window that he's approaching, and I'm fine with it. Like, because I recognize him from the front. Before he comes up the steps, he calls out, Lucas. So I hear him, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, may I enter? Yeah. Men get it. Like, they get it. They get, like, the showing, like, popping up on somebody could scare the shit out of them. This man is consciously making an effort not to fucking scare me in a way that the guy the night before, who I didn't invite, who I didn't tell, didn't. That's when I really got fucking freaked out. Playing the whole thing in my mind, and I'm like, did I overreact to this shit? Like, that's it. Did I overreact? Did I make too big of a deal of it? Is it possible the man was just, I don't know. I guess I was downplaying it in my head to like not make it as invasive, scary, fucked up as it actually is. When I was on the phone with Senor Garcia, he's freaking out. And that's what I'm like, okay. Even when like Big Bourdain energy showed up, he was like, yeah, the owner called the police. And I'm like, the police? And he was like, yeah, this is fucked up. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why like I downplayed it. Like maybe that's like survival. Like I don't know. I haven't talked to a therapist yet. Like a couple therapists have chimed in like after I talked about the story online, but people have, suggested different things like, yeah, you have PTSD. Like, yeah, you have anxiety. Like, yeah, I don't know if being fucked up is a therapeutic diagnosis, but that's the equivalent of what people have said. And they're like, you've experienced a trauma. It's that what happened to you is traumatic. Like whether you process it or not, it's traumatic. I left the old hotel, got to the new hotel. They've been taking great care of me. Sunday, I was all fucked up because it's the morning after. I think I was in fight or flight. I'm still all fucked up. I get to the new hotel. It's a much better situation. And I'm like, okay, but I think like I'm not in survival mode. So I can actually have emotions and like shit just starts pouring out of me. And I start doing weird shit that like scares me. The new bungalow that I'm in has wood floors. And I put down a towel on the floor and just laid on the floor for like an hour. And a couple therapists have actually told me, they were like, yeah, you're actually grounding. Like you're trying to make sense of yourself and steady your nervous system. Like it's normal. They were like, you pulling the covers over your head and like sweating it out for 4 hours. A therapist explained that's the equivalent of a hug. You were finding a hug, a comfort. I was like, oh, shit's weird. And they were like, well, yeah, because you just experienced a trauma. You're going to be weird for a minute. Okay. ish. I ain't got no choice. My body and mind are going through some weird shit. That happened on Saturday. Today is Tuesday at 8:16. I'm recording. I've lost 4.5 pounds. I can't keep food down. Anything I eat flows through me immediately. I don't know if I have a stomach bug or if this is like an emotional, psychological thing, but like I travel with a scale because I'm crazy. I've lost 4.5 pounds. You can see it in my face, in my shoulders. Like I look weird. Sunday, I was shit. Monday, I was okay. I only cried once on Monday. Earlier today, Tuesday, I was okay. I actually sat at breakfast and had a whole conversation with myself about like, wow, like you're amazingly okay. I don't know if you're having like an upswing moment, if this is like some weird, like psychological, like, I don't know, emotional roller coaster. But I was like, actually, I feel okay. And like, I wrote this whole piece in like my notes. I didn't publish it. And I was like, you know what? A huge part of people feeling traumatized when something crazy happens to them, this was my theory, was that especially when it comes to things with women that involve men, any kind of assault, right? Women typically aren't believed. Like you have to be a perfect victim in order for people to find you believable and also find compassion for you. And I was like, you know what? Like there's something to this reporting immediately, and people believed me. She is worthy of being protected. She is worthy of feeling safe. We will apologize to her for this thing that happened on our watch because she's worthy. And I was like, it makes a huge difference as a victim of something if you are believed and you are seen and you are heard and you are protected. And I was like, maybe that's why 48 hours, less than 48 hours from this incident, I'm able to like sit here and be like, okay. Even 48 hours, like the thing that reduced me to tears just the day before of thinking about running up to the door, trying to get outside or lock the door or whatever I was doing, operating on instinct. And then that guy being there, like I can think about it now or this morning at least, and it was fine. The thing that was still setting me to tears is when I reread the WhatsApp message that I sent to the new hotel, and I had to be vulnerable and tell like this person, I don't know who this is on the other end of this WhatsApp. I'm texting a bubble to a bubble, and a bubble is responding to me. And I have to tell a bubble, this is what happened to me. This terrible thing happened to me, and I need your help. Please help me. And the person responds back, you are welcome. Come. No judgment, no hesitation, no extra shit. That's the shit that fucks me up. I'm still processing that. I really need to talk to a therapist. I probably shouldn't be recording this episode without talking to a therapist. I have my reasons for doing so. This woman reached out to me mid-morning today, before 12. She's part of an expat group of Americans. Somebody posted my story in their expat group chat. Every country has one. Every time I land in a new country, somebody from the expat Black Girl American group reaches out and says, oh, I follow you on Instagram or social or whatever, and you're in blah, 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 and would love to meet you, would love to hang out, would love to have drinks. It's an upside of the social media platform that I have. But this woman reaches out and she's apologizing for what happened. She says, you know, like there are people who are near you. The group had figured out where I was, like down to the hotel, based on very basic details I had given. I'm in a surfer town. My hotel is on a cliff. And they were like, oh, you're staying at XYZ. Yeah, actually. The details that I gave about the guy, they more or less figured out who he was. Somebody else from the group reached out and was like, is the guy's name XYZ? And I said, yeah, because why am I covering for a guy who I thought was going to assault me? She reaches out to the guy and is basically like, what the fuck? You traumatized this girl. I don't know if you knew who she was. This has become an international story. I can see the numbers on the back end, obviously. But she reaches out to the guy and is basically like, you traumatized this girl. You've traumatized her whole fucking following. It's an international news story. And now you've embarrassed your fucking country. Cause like everyone is like, Mozambique, never. Cause this is what happened to this girl who's been roaming around Africa that everyone follows. And has pretty much had nothing but great experiences until she got here. So the guy tells her his side of the story. And she comes back and tells me this. This is how I know. The guy tells her his side of the story, and he has an entirely different one. She tells me, though, that she was like, we agree on basic facts, that you met this girl, and then you showed up at her place uninvited and unannounced, and you scared the shit out of her. And he was like, but I apologized, and I didn't have ill intention, and I wasn't trying to scare her. And like, once she realized it was me, she wasn't scared anymore. Which, nigga, what? But she relays all this back to me. And so she was like, I talked to him and he gets it. Like, he understands. And he was like, oh, I want to explain to her. And he was like, I told him, leave her alone. Like, she's not obligated to give you safe space or to hear you out or anything else. You've done enough wrong. The discomfort that you feel with someone thinking of you as a predator or a rapist or violent or any of those things, imagine how she feels being on the receiving end of that. Like, sit with your shit and leave this girl alone. Except he doesn't. Because this woman has reached out to him and she's alerted him that this is a social media conversation. I guess he could have pieced together my first and last name, because I told him my name was Demetria, but I go by Demi. He has my WhatsApp. My name on WhatsApp is Demi and my last name, so it's easy to piece together. But he decides to go look me up on social media after he talks to this woman. He posts on Facebook. He writes this. It had to be 1,000 words. He wrote so much in the first response that he ran out of word count. And then he had to write a follow-up. But he writes this long-ass message explaining his point of view of what happened. And it's the most unhinged, bizarre, twisted point of view. It's unfathomable to me. But it's like he turned it into like this sort of like epic romance of like, I met this girl at the pool. He refers to me as like this older woman. He's not generally attracted to women who are visibly so much older than him. He's like 38. I'm 43. It's not like I'm a fucking cougar. Also, I know I don't look my age because people all the time think I'm like a fucking kid. But we just had like this amazing connection. My version is like, yeah, we were hanging out and he was like, oh, you want to go walk by the beach? And I was like, cool. Because literally we're on a cliff and it's right there. Like we walked down a set of stairs and like the beach is there and we walked 5 minutes down to where the fishermen were and then we walked back. His version is we had this romantic stroll on the beach. Our conversation was so enlightening. We had such deep connection. He felt so comfortable with me, and clearly I did with him. I was on my cycle. I don't know what the fuck is going on with my body right now. Like I said, it's day 4. If I were to have sex with him, it would have looked like a fucking massacre. It's my heaviest day. I had a leak unexpectedly. Like my cycle is all over the place because I'm 43. Like my body's doing weird shit, which is very embarrassing for me to say out loud, but it's the truth. I had a leak. I had to go back to my room and change bathing suits. This is also embarrassing. He's the one that pointed out the leak. Like he was like, is that blood? And I was like, oh, fuck. That hasn't happened to me in, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I'm a whole fucking adult. I can't regulate my cycle. What the fuck? I got 2 tampons shoved up my woo-ha because my cycle is that fucking crazy on day 4 and I still leaked. I had to run back to my room. I changed clothes. I took a shower because like I had a whole fucking leak and I had to wash out my bathing suit because it had fucking blood in it. I changed into another bathing suit because I had multiple bathing suits because I'm on a fucking beach vacation. His version of events was like, because of our great conversation and our comfort, I was more comfortable. He said comfortable like 50 million times. displaying my beauty for him. And that's why I changed bathing suits. And then like that's how he knew I was like really feeling him. And then like I invited him to lunch and he was like, I declined because I had a late breakfast. And I was like, nigga, I've been drinking all day. I was like, I'm gonna get something to eat. Like, are you hungry? I didn't offer to pay for his lunch. I didn't invite him to lunch. I wanted to eat. And so like I'm a decent fucking human and was like, oh, are you hungry? Because I'm about to grab something. He was talking about like he watched me eat and then like the music was like sensual and it was such a vibe. They was playing fucking Moby and other chill out beats. They've been playing it all day. It wasn't like they just started playing it when lunch started. Huh? We've been drinking all day. And again, I wasn't fucked up. I mean, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go lay down. If it was just me, if I hadn't been like dealing with him, I probably would have just laid down in the beach chair and gone to sleep. But like, cause he's there and like he wants my attention and like I'm kind of over the whole thing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go lay down. And so I have to go to my room to lay down because I can't lay down here because like this dude is all in my face. So like I was like, oh, why don't we exchange numbers so we can stay in touch? And I didn't have anything against him. I didn't see a red flag. I didn't think he was crazy. I didn't think he was fucked up. Like I was genuinely tired and I was just tired of entertaining him really. So I was like, well, okay, so here, take my number. And then he was like, oh, we're going out tonight. And I was like, well, I'll let you know. Cause like my friend, I was just real non-committal. And then I went back to my room and then the nigga popped up on me. But like his version of events is like, we had some like fairy tale level fucking romance. And he posts all this shit on my Facebook page, which freaked me the fuck out. I screenshotted everything and then deleted it. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm just like blown. And kind of like the gaslighting of it all. He described the aftermath of leaving my bungalow. And he was surprised when he got a call from the big Bourdain energy white dude, basically cursing him out for popping up on one of the guests at the hotel and scaring the shit out of her. And the guy was like, you popped up on this woman. You owe her an apology. You've offended the hotel. You owe the owner an apology. And what the fuck were you thinking? What's wrong with you? He called the owner of the hotel. This is his version of events. He called the owner of the hotel and was like, you got it all wrong. Like, here's what really happened. He puts this in writing, that he painted this big, like, romantic version of the day. And the owner was like, no. And he was like, she's not scared of me. She was scared because she didn't know who was outside. But then once she saw it was me, she was totally fine. And she said she would see me tomorrow. Owner was like, nah. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to come back to the hotel and I'm going to apologize to her. And he was like, I don't know what y'all said to her, but she blocked me and I'm going to go back to apologize to her. And the owner was like, absolutely not. She's terrified. This is his version of events. And he was like, she would never be scared of me. I lost it. But I couldn't lose it because I was on a boat because I was like, oh, everything's fine. So I got on this boat and I went to like look at seashells and fishermen in the middle of like the fucking Indian Ocean because I have a SIM card from Mozambique. I can get a signal fucking anywhere here. I'm not operating off the like global AT&T. So I'm standing in this like, I don't know, you could call it an island, but like this shallow section in the middle of the ocean. It's like sandy and shit. I'm standing on it. I get this feeling to like check my Facebook. I check it. There's this message there. And it's the most gaslighting shit I've ever read. Like this whole complete total spin on events that paints everything that happened as like a fucking love story. And I wanted to like lose it. I mean, I did, but I just couldn't have like a full like shaking, crying, like lose it. Like I needed to lose it to get it out because I'm on this boat The captain and the first mate speak just enough English to like communicate about like boat shit. And then the other 4 passengers are French. They speak just enough English to like be polite, just the way I speak just enough French to be polite. Like I'd lose it and no one would know what to do with me. So I hold it together till we get back to the hotel. I'm leaving out a detail. This happens on Facebook. I screenshot everything and then I delete the shit. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And I go to Instagram to hit up the girl who hit me earlier and to be like, yo, this nigga is unhinged. Whatever you said to him, you let him know that this was a conversation on social media. And now he's found me and he's reaching out to me. And what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I go to his page because I've had it this whole time. I block him. I go to my DMs and I see a message from him and I pull it up. And as I'm reading the DM, it disappears. But I got just enough to see, I know you're still in Mozambique. I'm going to come apologize to you. Lost it. Hold it together to get to the hotel. I get to the reception desk. It's not the same guy that I was WhatsApping with on Sunday. I'm trying to tell the guy what happened. I start falling apart. I can't get the words out. The guy looks fucking terrified. He's Mozambican. Portuguese is probably his first language or one of his first languages because everybody here speaks like 6. I'm standing in front of him trying to get the words out. I just start bawling and sobbing and shit. He's staring at me with like big wide eyes. I'm trying to tell him what happened. He's trying to like give me water and I'm trying to like through tears and deep breathing, just trying to get the part out. Like I came here because this guy showed up at my hotel and scared the shit out of me. And I think he might come here and I'm scared and I need security. And please, if anyone comes here looking for me, you have to help me. And I don't know what he's capable of. He goes and gets the manager. Somebody else appears. This white man appears. He's the activities director. And he's like, he wants some water. He like assesses me and then like steps off into the distance. The big boss of the hotel is a woman. She's Portuguese. She speaks fluent English. She's like, take your time. Do whatever you need to do. We're here. We just trying to help you when you can pull yourself together. I explained the situation to her. She was like, yeah, the guy told me yesterday that like, you know, somebody had shown up a day early because of blah, blah, blah. I thought the situation was resolved. It's not resolved. I tell her what happened. The look on her face like lets me know that I'm not like crazy. And she was like, we have guards stationed like for all of the rooms. Like once sunset hits, like nobody who's not a guest of the hotel can get in or out. I give her a picture of the guy. I give her his name. She's going to contact the police. She's going to contact the other hotel to let them know like the guy's fucking crazy. Like you have a predator on your hands. Yeah, that's Mozambique. I deleted my social media so the guy couldn't contact me. I deactivated both Facebook pages, my Instagram, my Twitter. Somebody emailed me from my website to let me know. They were like, yeah, I wanted to read the story about what happened with the guy in Mozambique. I clicked the links from your page and they're deactivated. And I was like, thanks for letting me know. This nigga's kind of stalking me right now. So I went ahead and I couldn't deactivate my website, but I put a password on it so you can't get in it. So nobody can email me. Only my friends and family can contact me. I imagine people will figure out at some point that I've deactivated everything and they won't know what the fuck happened to me, which is the only reason I'm recording this podcast. I also deleted it because I was getting pushback, I guess, questioning about like why would you go to sleep with your door open? Like you're in a foreign fucking country and that's not safe and that doesn't make sense. And why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And by the way, I wasn't asleep when the nigga showed up. I was wide awake. So I fell asleep with the door open and nothing fucking happened. I was wide awake at 8 p.m. when dudes showed up at my door. Like, yes, my door was open, but it was 8 p.m. I'm in an ocean fucking bungalow, which the whole point is to be able to get a seaside breeze. And I was awake. So focusing on like, well, you fell asleep with your door open. If I close the door, there's no fucking air circulation. Like I'm literally on a cliff, beachside. It's hard to get to me. If I didn't feel safe, I wouldn't have left the door open. Like clearly I felt safe. I'm not a fucking idiot. But like all these people started questioning, like, why did you leave your door open? Why did you leave your door open? Why did you leave your door open? Why did this nigga show up fucking uninvited to a space that I didn't even tell him where I was? That's the only fucking question. And like, I knew that I was going to be victim blamed. I knew when I was reacting immediately after everything that happened, I knew I had this very narrow window that if I don't react in a certain time frame and I don't react the way that people expect me to, no one is going to believe me. No one is going to express empathy for me, and they're just going to blame me. I tried to do every fucking thing. I tried to do every fucking thing right that I could so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened to me. And they still fucking blamed me. On a good day, I could deal with that shit. People have said so many fucking horrible things to me over the years on social media. When my castmate died, people blamed me for it. People told me that they thought I should have died instead. When I left my husband, people told me how fucking unworthy I was. When I married my husband, people told me how fucking unworthy I was. I get it every day for nearly a fucking decade. I'm used to it. I can usually take most of it, but I can't be fucking traumatized and stalked and gaslit. And then on top of that, people telling me it's my own fucking fault. I know y'all ain't tuned in for none of this shit. You tuned in to hear about fucking Snowfall recaps and Don Lemon. And I try to be what you expect me to be on Friday, but I can't be that today. I'm scared. And I just want to go back to South Africa. And I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. And that's today's episode. And God willing, if this motherfucker don't find me, I'll be back on Friday.